Hello, everyone, and I am back. And I haven't been talking to people from the let's say builders world. I've spent past 3 months mostly talking to artists, and I am unsure how would I introduce my today's guest because she might be an artist in a sense, or she might be a builder in a sense. And you will definitely see why I'm saying this just in a minute. So, Alyna, welcome. Happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice little surprise.
Yeah. So, for everybody, for the context, I discovered Alyna on Farcaster, like most of my friends and actual guests on the podcast. And she fits into the growing but very small niche of fitness. People who can actually teach you how to do the exercise. And today we are going to talk about mostly about how you should approach setting up your fitness goals for 2025 because it's end of 2024. And so that's what we should do. And we actually got to the conversation from my lack of fitness goals for the past number of years. So we will try to wean this into it so I can set up my fitness goals for 2025 as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna find something for you to do that you probably thought, I haven't thought of that.
Wonderful.
Something different.
Just to give you a perspective, you can see a Christmas tree behind my back, and there is about -5, -7 outside, white. And Alyna has around 20 degrees hot
Well,
in
almost 30, yeah. 25 or
almost
30
30 in Thailand. Look at that. How lovely.
around the world.
So let's start with the first question. Alyna, how did you get to fitness?
So I was lucky enough that both my mum and dad have always moved in some way. My dad is massively into tennis. He plays sports at school. My mum, I mean, back then there wasn't really gyms that you could go to, but she was always doing like aerobics and like step and all these dance classes. And just after that, anything that else that came, weights. And, I kind of grew up like having to go like pick my mum up from the gym and like in the way of like we're going to go pick mum up from the gym and whatever the studio and so I've always just had it around me. And I think for anyone who's a parent, like you can see how important that is for your children to see that, look, this is a normal part of life, this is what adults do, they move. So then I think after that, weirdly, so I have two older brothers, but I was always the one way more into like martial arts, weights. So being from Thailand, Muay Thai was probably one of the first things that I was surrounded by. Yeah, like martial arts, like from like the age of like 16, maybe like 15, 16. Yeah, so started with martial arts, particularly Muay Thai. Then I went into, so I've done a fight in Muay Thai before. Then I went into like kind of bodybuilding, in the way of just kind of learning how to use weights. And I think a lot of people, they find their first steps either with something like running or something like bodybuilding, because it's just like the first time you use a machine, like the classic lat pull down.
Right.
Yeah,
True.
like everyone knows that, but no one actually knows what it, like how it actually works, but they just follow it because it's what you do, you pull down. So yeah, then after that, I kind of just found my way doing like CrossFit, anything just super intense, boxing, done a boxing fight. And then very much now, so went through my strength conditioning, which is basically just learning like this more sporty way to condition someone, right? To really balance you out, just the teaching how to sprint and just sort of be explosive but strong at the same time. And then basically right now I am much more into Olympic lifting. So that was my main goal of like the quick one. So I am a bit of a weird all-rounder. There's a lot of like there's not that many like me, because I think people, they kind of just enjoy like what they enjoy, but I get bored. I like to just maybe do something very well for 2 years, but then I want to try something else just to move in a different way. Lockdown was, I mean, not a great time for a lot of people, but actually was very much a useful time for me. I did a lot of yoga in lockdown. I almost did like 90 minutes a day at some point, and I managed to get my yoga teacher training just before just before lockdown. Yeah, in that and a special qualification in particular, not just the standard one. One more yoga sports science I did, so more to work with athletes and people who weren't like, I'm not a yogi, but I want to learn yoga. How can you make teach me so I'm better for my sport, kind of more clinical approach to yoga.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Because I don't think you can really force spirituality or that kind of the true side of it on everyone. So it's a nice way for the coaching world to learn that way. But before that, I very quickly, and it just happened to be, worked in a yoga calisthenics gym. So I was around the calisthenics guys as well. So I should have probably started with that. So then when I did go into lockdown, I already was kind of in that world a bit. But yeah, at the same time, that was when I got into calisthenics side. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, yes, it's body weight movements, comes from the Greek, kalisthenos, beauty in the body. And things like pull-ups, chin-ups, ring work, like gymnastic rings, plant, like not that I can do a planche, but trying to, a planche, front lever, back lever, muscle ups, that kind of stuff, right? So very different way of training, but very fun. Pistol squats, that's why I got some of my pistol squat stuff on there. So very fun when you can just use your body, but it takes a long time. I feel like this really helped me as a coach, because when I meet different people, I could relate in the fitness world. When I can relate, not even actually in the fitness world, just people over the world, because there's all sorts of different things that people are drawn to. You can, a rock climber will like calisthenics because that training helps them. So then that's when I can go, oh yeah, I know about that. I did that for a bit. And then you can actually kind of empathize with them and actually, back to setting fitness goals. This is when I can kind of help people be like, well, you don't have to do that. You can do this. And all these different things. So yeah, very totally. Much where I'm at now, Olympic lifting, because that is just probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. It's been like 2 years I kind of dabbled with it for CrossFit like 8 years ago, but this 2 years I'm like, going to do it properly because it's a skill, right? So that's in a quick way where I am now.
Nice. So it begs the question. So do you, like, when you try to start something new, do you have, it sounds almost like you have like 2 years period. Is it intentional, or it sort of like comes out as 2 years usually? And I can hear you. So I hope, yes, now.
Sorry, it actually kind of went, but now it's back.
You're back.
I just, you asked about the 2 year period, and I said, oh, it's a bit like a relationship, isn't it? Where you get bored with who you're with and you have to find someone new.
I didn't say that. No. That part, it's on you.
Actually, I'm in a relationship, and it's actually been like over 4 years now, so it's actually been fine. But it's is it intentional? No, I mean sometimes it's been longer than 2 years, but I feel like to really master what you're not. I mean, master. You're not going to master. Okay, I'm Rebecca. To kind of really get enough of the basics of what you're learning. Like I would say 2 years is a good period. This is when you choose, okay, do I want to continue doing this thing? Like, does that make sense? Do I want to continue doing this thing?
Yeah, sure.
Or do I maybe want to, have I seen something else that interests me that I want to explore a little bit, physically? So that's kind of how it works. A lot of this stuff is the stuff I'm talking about goes together. So I guess when you're talking about something like CrossFit, it is still strength based with maybe specific skills in it. So all the best CrossFitters out there, a lot of them used to be Olympic lifters first, really, because
that's
I don't
true.
know if, right? I don't know if you've ever seen or if you've watched much Olympic lifting, or if you ever tried it, but it's doesn't matter how strong you are. Yes, strength is definitely an element you need to be. You need the skill. You need to learn the technique.
Yep. There is a technique.
So it's very humbling. You might not go up weight for like 6 months because you're trying to learn the skill. Yeah. But
honestly, yeah. Weightlifting never really drawn me. The only weightlifting I ever did actually started at CrossFit. I had my CrossFit decade, so there was a lot of weightlifting.
Well, you definitely did do that weightlifting.
Yeah, and some of it kind of stuck, I would say, simply because it's like a nice flow when you are at the gym. So you can do a couple of weights and you're sort of like done. You don't have to walk around different machines. You can sort of do it in one spot and then feel like you did something for yourself. And because I have 3.5-year-old daughter, basically the weightlifting is the only part which needs to progress, because I I carry her when we play or do stuff.
Yeah.
So you just need to keep up with the weights.
I mean, anyone who's a kid knows how heavy they can get and how long you have to carry them for.
Yeah, especially when they fall asleep and like you are like walking down the mountain after an hour, those 12 kilos
Yeah,
look
we don't.
like a ton.
Yeah, and it's moving sometimes, right? Well, maybe when they're
Yeah,
not sleeping,
yeah,
they're sleeping, but yeah, you can't just put it down and leave it.
yeah. Okay, very cool. Look, so basically, Olympic weightlifting is your favorite now, right?
Yeah, so right now, maybe because the skill is taking a lot longer to learn because it is just very technical, and I'm like, feel very much like a baby in it right now. So it's been 2 years, and I mean, I've come a long way, but I'm not. I'm not there yet. It's gonna take a few more years, but I'm happy with the journey. Like
Okay.
I like that.
So you
But
don't
like
feel
not
bored just yet.
no, no. And I like, yeah, nowhere near like the weights I want to do. But I do combine it. Yeah, I'm not bored yet. And it's again, with everything I've done, it's shown every type of training I've done, it's put me in a different community and a different world and introduced me to a whole bunch of different people. And I like meeting new different people. It just opens your eyes.
Absolutely. So did you know from like a long time ago that fitness is going to be your world in a sense that, it's going to be your work and not just your, fun time activity?
I did not think it was going to be a profession. I've always loved moving. I was probably a bit of like a chubby kid when I was younger, like as kids are, especially growing up in Asia for a bit. I mean, I was 12 when I moved to the UK, but everyone's smaller here. So I definitely felt like a bit bigger. And that probably as a teenager is what drew me to like want to work out. Because what I find is everyone who is naturally lean, who don't do sports for enjoyment, they don't feel like they need to work out. And I
That's
know we
true.
know the person who could eat a pizza, 5 pizzas, and look the same. But there's people who will just inhale, some ice cream and put on 5 kilos. You just look at it
Yeah.
and that. So actually, it sucks, yes, to be that type of person, but that gives you purpose to work out, and you end up being fitter than the person who doesn't have to do anything. And then because eventually, hate to say it, everyone, it catches up to you. Doesn't matter. It
It will catch up. Yeah.
will catch up. Like, just wait. Anyone who's in their like late 20s and whatever now, or maybe even mid 30s, and still it absolutely catches up. It's harder to get lose weight if you put that on, and next you haven't built that habit for when you're younger. So guess what? Teaching an old dog new tricks is really not fun. When you're like,
Mm.
oh, I don't have this habit. I have to like get myself to the gym and make this a routine because frankly, it's about lifestyle and habit. So going back to that kind of side of things, I'm kind of grateful I was more that body type maybe because it's just driven me to want to be better and to push myself because I kind of had to. I didn't really have a choice in terms of if I wanted to maintain it. So I didn't think it was going to be my profession. It was just something I kind of did because I kind of like, as any teenage girl is at the time, you want to look a certain way. And yeah,
Didn't want to
actually,
say that. Feels like that.
yeah, but it's true. So I mean, I get a lot of them as some they come up to me and they see things on TikTok, and I have to explain to them like this is not what it seems. But yeah, so I actually was going to be an artist. Talking about artists, that's what I was funny
Oh,
when you first mentioned. From 6 years old to 18, I was painting, drawing. Actually, the NFTs were a very interesting subject for me to
nice.
think of the artwork side of things. But I thought that was going to be like my life. I went to at university. I did a very special course called technical arts and special effects, where
Nice.
I was working with like master technicians who worked at Madame Tussauds, and I was doing like sculpture. Like I always did very realistic. Not like, and I love animation, can't do it. I was more the like classically trained, realistic side of art, and I thought I was going to work in the film industry doing prosthetics and makeup and like
Wow.
Making, let's say a director says, make me 10,000 plates I can smash again and again. I don't know, so yeah, as I
Well,
do.
you still can, I guess.
Very out of practice. But the thing is, yeah, and I know things are materials and I can appreciate how things are made now, but I can definitely still draw. I'll never lose that. And I miss the creativity. I miss drawing. I miss painting. I miss that creative outlet. I started training very seriously at uni. And I think in second year, I started to realize I think I'm enjoying this more. I just I'm a very passionate person. So it was art, but then it just suddenly became fitness. And I was like, I'm really connecting with this, and I want to help other people. That was my next thought. I got this like satisfaction when people ask me, "Oh, Lina, you're really good at this stuff. Can you show me like how do I do this?" And that satisfaction where you've just shown someone how to do something, and then now they're able to do it, and then their pain's gone. And
Right.
it's just that urge to like I want to help people with their goals, and I just want to help people, yeah, be better. And I feel there will be in the physical world, because right now we are obviously in this new AI age where it's a bit of a like, reality is becoming a bit of a blur. But there's one thing: AI will be able to write the perfect program for you, but it cannot move for you. It will cannot literally move your limbs. So whether we like it or not, we're gonna have to move our bodies.
I like it as a prediction. Pretty cool.
It's like even the robot, like even if we have robots, it's like, well, a robot cannot sit, it doesn't have it doesn't have an organ, so it can't like say, oh yeah, I totally get your back pain kind of problem because I have it too. It's just
Right.
not made of the same stuff. It's not organic.
Neat, neat. Okay, so it's quite a journey. I think you should keep your artistic background alive. You should definitely find some time for this. Because you never know, creativity of all forms and shapes might be, what holds the future together.
um Yeah, no, when I go away to places, I try to take like my notepad, and I still try to like sketch, and I've taken watercolors with me some places, and I've tried to
Mhm.
just do some painting. Very rarely, but it's just another form of meditation. You just don't think of anything else when you're drawing or painting. So I do try to do that.
Look, I think we have a decent amount of background, so everybody kind of got to know you. And I'd like to jump into our main topic, which is basically how we should approach setting up the fitness goals for next year. And I think let's do it in two different levels, because I guess it's a bit different if people are normal, fitness enthusiasts, and they basically go to gym. They just don't have any goals, and they would like to somehow fix it, which would be my case. And maybe there is someone who is not into fitness, never was, but feels like the back is sort of giving up, or I'm gaining weight. And so for them it's probably a little different. So I would start with not fitness enthusiasts, let's say, but people who feel something is not perfectly okay with their body, whether it's back pain or it's like newborn kids. What should be the thought process when people think about fitness goals? Because I think a lot of times you get swayed by the Instagram picture of like perfectly looking person, whether it's a guy or girl, doesn't matter, and some app which you should download and do something for 28 days, and all your problems will be gone. Let's look at like the process and thinking behind how you should ease yourself into fitness if you are not doing it every day now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is a really good point to make, to say, because I completely understand that I am not the normal person. I am passionate about fitness. It is like my life. It is my normal state of being to like work out and just do something that is like probably super terrifying and terrifying, but also just tiring for anyone else. So we're probably not the best people to talk to in terms of like how do you stay motivated, because we just do. It's just like normal life. But I do work with Gen Pop, right? There's just general population, and that is I do work with those that still say to me, and I think Oksana will remind me saying saying this, she still hates work. Even after all these years, she's like, but it's very impressive that she's like, no, I still hate it, but she still turns up. You know, she just does it. Even though she's tired, it makes her feel better. You know, even if you're tired in a weird way, like jet lag, it kind of like resyncs you and re-centralizes you. So, you know, it is important to think about in that sense. So in terms of like setting your goal, there are two types of people that you have to look at, right? So the ones with kids and the ones without kids.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of think, because it does matter when you have kids, like everything changes, and you know, in terms of, because your priorities change, you know, you kind of have these people or one
Totally.
person to really look after, and it's like all dependent. Sometimes that is even better because you go, oh my god, I need to make sure I can keep up with them and I can look after them, because then you have a purpose. So the three things you need to basically stay alive are physical movement, cognitive stimulation, and so if I say that again so you can kind of easy. First, cognitive stimulation and physical movement. If you're setting goals, you got to have a purpose. So a lot of people come to me and they say, like, I want to get strong, a bit toned, lose weight. They say get strong. They don't actually know what that means or looks like. It's like, okay, have you thought about what being strong looks like? Like, it's all well to say just be strong, but like, be more specific. What does that mean to you? For some, if you're very elderly, it literally could be, I want to just be able to walk downstairs without being afraid, or I want to be able to walk upstairs, or I want to be able to open my dishwasher without hurting my back. You know, so when you think of a goal, it doesn't need to be massive, because most likely if it is too big and you are very new, you might not stick to it. So it's probably better to set realistic goals that you will stick to. So for those who say, okay, I want to get strong, I say, right, have you ever tried weightlifting? No, but I like to learn. Okay, great. So you're with a PT, say. So what does that look like? We're going to find you a goal. We're going to measure your 1 rep max, your 1 repetition max of, say, a back squat. You know, if that's something you'd be interested in, because then it'll give you a goal, a physical goal to look forward to, right? And so we go, right, we're gonna work on this for 12 weeks, and then we'll measure it at the end of this, or 8 weeks, we'll measure at the end of this, and that will just keep you on track. So you have to look at, what does strength look like to you? So it doesn't have to be a 1 RM back squat. It could be, you know what, I'm going to get my first pull up. I mean, most women can't do, annoyingly, the statistic is most women can't even do 1 pull up, right? So there's a pull up and chin up. Pull up is where your hands are pronated, facing away from you, and then your palm, for those who don't know, your palm supinated. Chin ups, palms are facing towards you. One of them is a little bit easier to get than the other, but that is a great physical, tangible goal that you can reach for. So I would suggest, if you aim for something with a performance and skill, you're more likely to stick to it. Because if you aim for something that is just aesthetic, and there is nothing wrong with aiming for something aesthetic, because we all like to look good, you kind of feel sometimes you're never happy with where you are. You know, and you can see this a lot with bodybuilders, where they are like as lean as you can physically get, and yet they're not lean enough to them. They're not happy. You know, they're just, no, but I want more, but I want more. I find a lot with physical goals. Very rarely have I met someone, and I have though, but I haven't met someone saying like, you know, I'm actually really happy with where I've got to. I'm actually like, yeah, I just want to stay here. Honestly, like a handful of people have I met have said that. Most people, it's not enough, but they just keep going for it. But on the side of a physical goal, they look good as a byproduct, but then they are just constantly getting stronger, and they're constantly going up in weight, and so on. But it's like every time you achieve, they're like, oh, I've gone up in weight. But you do keep that satisfaction. I can't really explain it without trying it. I just feel you get to that weight and you're like, but I'm happy I still did that a year ago, because that was really like hard for me, and I reached it and I was so happy about it. There's something about a performance physical goal that makes people satisfied and happy for a certain point. That makes sense.
So would you say, from your experience, that
Yeah.
when you have a new client, the biggest mistake we typically make is to set like too high goals or basically just wrong goals?
More say wrong, more maybe unsuitable goals.
Unsuitable.
Because
Okay, sure.
say that they go, I want this, I see the move, and then they go, actually, you don't know this, but you need this. But as a PT, you sometimes have to go, okay, I know you need this, and I could try explain that you need this, but I'm just gonna start working with you, and then you'll eventually realize how you think, oh, actually, I didn't realize I needed this whole time. Yeah. So sometimes it's like I know what he means. I'm just gonna we're just going to get started and then they'll see, because there's a lot of stuff that goes with it. Yes, some of them do also set unrealistic goals, because they'll go, I want to lose weight, or I want to lose fat, because they say weight and not fat, because sometimes I have to explain, by the way, your body weight might not change, but your body composition will change. So
Yeah.
you might be heavier than you were before, but you'll look the best you ever looked, like according to yourself.
Yeah, typical.
But people will find that very difficult to get their head around.
Yeah. Because, I think it's the decades of talking about weight and losing weight and basically all the pills which help you lose weight. So I guess everybody kind of thinks weight.
It will be in how your clothes feel. That is the only other thing that you'll go, for sure, this fits way better. This is loose on me. This is how you measure without tape your body composition and how it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
That you're like, yeah.
Would you say that, if people are new to fitness, should they basically aim for just one thing, like a one goal for the, first 3 months or 6 months? I think nobody is kind of coming to you, new fitness enthusiasm, saying, from now on, I'm going to be exercising every day of my life for the rest of my life. Most people probably are here like, let's do this for summer or something, right?
Yeah, well, the people who are particularly like, I have a date, are the brides. There is,
Oh, right, yeah.
man, honestly,
Makes total sense.
There is no motivation like a bride getting married. I tell you, it's like they're completely different people. The motivation
Scary.
is real, so they're great. They're great to work with, but it often kind of ends there with a lot of them. Like, okay, here's my date. The husband's been working out the whole time, and then they see the bride go through the phase, and then afterwards the husband's still working out. It's like, well, that was a nice moment to watch. But she was consistent or whatever. But yeah, this happens a lot. I do feel that, so people do come to me, and sometimes they're over ambitious, and they do say, so yeah, I want to work out 3 days a week. I want to do this as well. And then I just go, sorry, what were you doing before? And they go, oh, nothing. And then I'm thinking, okay, let's start with twice a week, and
Okay.
and let's do that. And if you do that, and it's good, because remember, it's not just the working out, it's also the food, it's also the sleep, it's the maybe the supplements, I don't know, like it's like so much around it, like going to the gym, showering after the gym, there's so much around just the 1 hour working out that you have to be responsible for. So I do have to pull people back. And yes, I do think people should start smaller, and it's all relative, right? It's basically about habit building. When you think of goals, it's about consistency and it's about habit building. Just like, yeah, on Farcaster, posting, make it a habit. Talk, just finding somehow, creating a habit. So it could be, I'm going to try walk 15,000 steps a day minimum, or 10,000 steps, which is the classic, the 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
But you'd be
10,000
surprised.
steps.
Yeah, the 10,000 steps. But I mean, there's a lot of people who are so sedentary that they realize, wow, like I used to be just 6,000 steps. Like, I'm going to try do walking meetings, or I'm going to try, if you can, I'm going to try find a way you can increase your steps, because actually the majority of our calories aren't burned in the 1 hour of us training. It's the other 23 hours of the day. It's like, what are you doing in the other 23 hours of the day? So it's like, this is the problem that we are having in this day and age, why everyone's kind of in pain and everything, because we're just so much more sedentary.
Actually, two questions popped into my mind as you were talking. So one, is there like oversubscribed period for personal trainers like you around Christmas and New Year's? Are people, actually signing up for the New Year's goals, or it doesn't work like the gym memberships typically do?
So yeah, interesting question. So yes, you get a bit of a January boom, but thing is, a lot of people they only start inquiring in January. Like, so it's an investment when you work with a coach, right? It's a real it costs, but I would say it's probably one of the best things you can invest in because it's long-term health. It's not like just a handbag. Like, this will be a life lesson you're going to learn. So there's a boom of people like inquiring, and again, like, I've just before this I had a call already about, like, yeah, it's 2025, I want to get back to this goal I had, I want to do this, but it's just talking first. I feel like people don't really start until like end of January, and also because they have the money. Sometimes they're just like, we've spent like the whole of December and January, and actually I'm inquiring, but actually I don't actually have any money until the end when I'm like paid.
The end of the month. Yeah, that makes sense.
And actually, I know I'm very weird like this, but I actually, in the in-person PTs, I take the beginning of January off because throughout my whole year, it's very random where I get a boom of clients. It's it's a very random time for me, just because I guess I just train all sorts of people. Because of this work from home culture as well, there are just so many different people with different jobs that I meet. So it's all very different times of the years that I maybe get a boom. But I do have my consistent ones, which is obviously very important. I also do online coaching as well, which is like having a platform on the app. So the good thing is, those people probably do start more in the new year, like earlier on, just because it's like, we can start now, you're on an app, you don't need to see me in person, but I program for you.
I see. Okay. That was actually the second question. I was wondering if you do only like in-person things or also the virtual one, so people can do it from home and start easy.
When I am away, I do every now and then do an in-person, like the video like this, only for the clients I see already in person. I don't take anyone on new. Like, I would, but it's not a big part of my business that I do like the virtual. But the online coaching is a big part, because talking about consistency, this is how people can work out even when I'm not there. I'm still giving them the plan. I'm still making sure they're on their pathway to a goal. So I have a client who's working towards her pull-up. She can do one unassisted one now, but she needs to make sure she keeps it, and to do more, she needs to be consistent. So because it's I want them to maintain their results, right? I'm not getting paid any extra for them to do this online program. It's just included in my package I offer. But I want them to get this results because it's, there's always more they can use. So right now, like, looking at my app, I can see all the people who have been completing their workouts whilst I'm away. And yes, I do check.
Good to know. Yeah. Good to know for everybody.
I do check, and people, so because that's why, not gonna lie, I think the majority of reasons why people are with me is for accountability.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, just, she will know if I don't go.
One more question, which probably is kind of a follow-up on what we were talking about around the goals and, start easy. So what's from your perspective as a personal trainer, what's the optimal amount of workouts during the week when you are starting with someone new? And let's say, so they've survived first month or two, so they figured out they can do 2 workouts a week. Is that enough to move them further fast enough, or should it be more, or it's totally okay if they stay at 2 workouts a week?
No, I completely understand. 2 workouts a week done well is great, right? It's about quality, and it's about, again, being realistic, not biting too much off that you can't, chew, and you can get some very good results twice a week. One of the brides I told you about that I trained, she got incredible results just doing twice a week. I do try to influence people to do 3 days, just like an extra one without me as well, when I say I PT them in person, just because they can do just the very easy machine bodybuilding stuff, which just fills in the holes, just fills in the gaps of any imbalances that they can do on their own. It's very like sort of slightly mindless, but just to get it done, the whole just get it done thing. So yeah, three days would be great, but 2 done well is more than enough. And it depends on what you want to do. Not everyone wants to do just weightlifting. 1 weight, 1 cardio is great. It is definitely better than nothing. So I think it's being realistic of what you have time for, because of course everyone's working, and again, people have kids, so sometimes you can't even get to the gym. So if it's once a week that you have to yourself, then that's great. It's just trying to prioritize it and finding a way to maybe fill in more if you feel like that would make you feel better.
Okay. No, it's pretty cool. This is probably an obvious, or it's basically a question with obvious answer, but I guess if someone wants to start working out, but they can't afford a PT, which I think is probably the best way to start working with somebody you can trust. But if you cannot afford it, what would be like the second best way to start and not get injured?
So, I mean, there are forms of we call them small group personal trainings out there. Some gyms offer it, where you are in a group of maybe, say, no more than 6 people, for instance, and you all follow the same program. So that's small group PT if you're in an area where the gym offers that. Finding a class, of course, finding some sort of class that you can join weekly. You might be into, going back to rock climbing, you might be into something a bit more sporty like rock climbing or dancing. Finding some, because it's always going to be a bit cheaper to do these things. Finding some sort of community, some sort of class is going to be cheaper. In terms of maybe something where you want to go to the gym, there are programs you can download online, but I mean, again, these programs are cookie cutter. It's just, you might have a knee problem and then realize, oh, I can't do that thing that the program has. So you need something personalized. So the online coaching, there are some very affordable forms of it. I feel like it's kind of like, again, a priority thing where you would just have to somehow find a way to reach that. But other than that, yeah, I think small group PT and classes will be the best way to start doing something.
Awesome. And I guess a very important question, maybe hard to answer, but I hope you give it a shot. So if I want to start and I want to choose a PT, how do I find the one which would be good for me?
Yeah, no, very true.
What should I look for? Because, everybody has some certificates, which I have no idea what they mean usually. So how do I do it?
So, I mean, I guess it's taking into account like what type of exercise you're interested to. So I'm guessing like you're thinking this person just is completely new, has no preference yet, right? In
Right.
what style of, like, what they like to do. So if you're looking for a PT, I hate to say it, there's a lot of bad stuff out there. There's a lot of, misinformation. And I think you should look up if your PT does current research. Can your PT explain to you why you're doing something and back it up?
Right. Okay.
And I think this is very important, because it is all about, like anything in the medical world, it's about the new data, the new research. You don't want to be taught, you want to be taught some 1970s stuff, which is so outdated. It's like, we've moved on. We know this is not a problem now, so you need to, if a PT says this is why, rather than it could be, it's like the language as well. Like, I have this problem. Okay, well, let's try this and let's see this. So you need to make sure the PT listens to you. So, once you meet them, make sure you have a trial session with them. Feel free to shop around. Feel free to go, okay, I just want to try a session with this person. I actually frankly find it very flattering, but also kind of funny, where people come to me and they go, I'm looking for a PT. I picked you from the board and I want to work with you. And then I'm just like, okay, I mean, yeah, we'll have a trial. By the way, like, if you want to like shop around, no problem. No, it's actually fine. I think we work great. Let's do it. I'm like, okay, like it's up to you. I am so not offended if they're like, you know what, I had a session with this person and I think we have better connection, because you are going to spend a lot of time with this person, and you're going to show this person it's a very like vulnerable position that you're in. You're in a very like primal state when you're pushing yourself, and it's a very kind of intimate thing really when you work with someone like that. So it's very important that you feel you can trust this person, and they understand your goals and not their goals, because there's a lot of PTs that push their goals on their clients. Like,
Okay,
I'm into Olympic
interesting.
lifting and you're going to learn Olympic lifting,
Right, because it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, because like I love it, and they're like, but I just want to just look good, or I just want to, this and yeah. So it's very, very important that the PT can be compassionate and passionate maybe, but compassionate, and just understand like, okay, you have worked. Say you work with them in the evening, and they've worked a full day, they've got kids, and it's just understanding that like sometimes their goal is just to get through this. I do think it's okay for PTs to explain that you have to push yourself. And I do say this to people, that it's not going to be easy, okay? Like, there's going to be many times that you're going to find it pretty hard, and you're probably going to want to give up. But until you physically like give up, like, we call it failure, right? Get to failure, you've always got more in you. You'd be very surprised. It's like when you're a parent for the first time and you realize how much you can do sleep deprived, and I say to people, like, imagine if you do something, you do something you thought you could never do, and you just do it in that session, and you beat it and you did it. Imagine doing that 3 days a week. You train, you literally physically overcome something so hard. You feel amazing, right? You feel like, wow, like, I just achieved that. It's very, very satisfying. So I think people have to keep in mind this when pursuing their goals, that obviously there's a reason it's a goal. It's going to be a little bit challenging in some way, but then once you reach it, it's pretty nice at the end of the rainbow there.
Well, it was very motivational. Almost sounded like an ending, but
Yeah.
I have one more question, maybe two,
Yeah.
and then we will sort of draw it to the end. But that was
Yeah.
great. So the quick question was: is there any like rule of thumb? Should guys train with the guys and girls with girls, or is there like it doesn't matter?
Yeah, it is all about preference. It's all about preference. And again, it's all about education, the PT's education. So nowadays, a lot of the male PTs, like the good ones who do their research, educate, they'll ask you, women, where are you on your cycle? Because this is important. They will ask these questions, and it's just up to you. Like, it's who you look up to, because some men just want to, train with men. Not gonna lie, I don't have many men come up to me and say, I want biceps like yours. Don't have that. That's okay. I can live with that. I don't get that much. But yeah, but so you'll see someone train, or you'll go, I want you to teach me that thing, and it's whoever you look up to that you feel comfortable with. And I think the main thing is feeling comfortable. There is no right or wrong. Right now I have a lot more women, but that's only because I think women go for PT a bit more than men do. But I've had moments where I've had mainly men to train, and maybe because the things I do, like with being martial arts and weightlifting, some people would say a little bit more like masculine. But I also grew up with two older brothers, so I'm very comfortable around men, and I went to a co-ed school.
Yeah, I think the sentence you said, depends who you look up to, probably kind of sums it up nicely.
Yeah, like, you motivate me, like you just said, boy, just like, oh, I wanna have what you have, and if they're good, because that's the thing. Try not to follow, like, when you see an influencer on Instagram or TikTok or any of these things, and you think, oh wow, I want what they have. Can they train me? Just because they can train themselves, it doesn't mean they're good coaches. Because,
Oh yeah, sure.
right? And I think this is a thing that people don't realize about the influencers. They know how to take pictures. Until they show their clients that they've trained, you don't know if they can actually train anyone else but themselves. They might be genetically gifted, so you don't know. Oh yeah, adding just to add to like the goals, because I know we're probably running out of time a bit, is so obviously we have habit goals, and we just have like health and longevity goals. I want to eat more vegetables. I want to, make them specific, I would say. So I want to hit 10,000 steps, because whatever you can measure, you can manage, right? We've all heard that. So I think make them specific is very important, but then you can go beyond that and make it more fun and say, I want to do a competition of some sort. And I've kind of been saying a lot of this on Farcaster, like, anyone got a competition, anyone got something, because it would just be something like completely new that you can really work towards and train for. And again, it doesn't have to be the bodybuilding or weightlifting. It could be a triathlon. It could be to do a 10K run event. It can be something. So there's a lot of different fitness events out there. I think you just have to just find them, go talk to a fitness professional and just say, like, what are the options? Like, what things are out there? I mean, have you heard of High Rocks? I mean, I'm surprised, because it seems like it's like everyone and their mums are doing it, but it's this worldwide race that's everyone's been doing. I've done it twice before. It's really big now, but it's all over the world, and it's basically this mainly a running event, but it's basically 8K. In between each kilometer, you have a functional exercise to do, and there's people who are literally kind of professional high rocks athletes now.
Whoa. Okay.
So the reason people like it is because it's not like at all. It is not skill based. So it's actually all things anyone can do. Anyone can train to do. It's not like, handstand walks and all these things they do in CrossFit. So as long as you like running and you can run, you can do a high rock. So this is another new fitness goal that a lot of people are aiming for, to complete it, to do a high rock. So maybe you can look it up and see after this. I'll message, and you'll see how it's massive now. It's in thousands of cities.
There you go. Okay. Nice. Alyna, this was great. Thank you very much for the time. I will probably ask, where is the best place people can find more info about you? We'll put all the links into the show notes, but, what are your favorite channels? Nice. You definitely don't.
My brand is HN Movement, but it's just on Walkcast, like Move with Alyna was just like nicer, just like shorter.
No, I actually love it. I think like a name and a slogan is perfect.
Yeah, thank you. If you see my logo is a kettlebell cat. It's a tiger. I say it's a cat, like a big cat. It's like a kettlebell meshed into like a cat. You'll see what I mean, because of the feline qualities. I love cats, and I love the
perfect,
athletic.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for the time, for all the advice and the intro into the world of fitness. Yeah. If this was helpful and you want to know more, then this would be great. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been great to talk to you. Everyone, I'll see you next time. And don't forget to set up some fitness goals. I hope I'll see some of those on Farcaster or X or wherever you decide to share them. But definitely do share.